What's going on, my creative collective? This is your creative unconscious reading. I am doing this. I recorded one already, and it was not cooperating, and my phone ended up losing it. So I am redoing this here. But of note, in the last one, my my mother's mother came through. I never had a chance to meet her because she passed away before I got the chance to meet her. But her name is Mary, and she was coming through really strong in that reading. The message she was kind of passing on is about releasing ourselves from guilt. Now, guilt in the sense of blame and in A Course in Miracles, which you'll see in a video that I'll be putting out later today. But she had a little baby girl, and she had her when she was about 12 or 13, I guess, and had to give her up for adoption. So the story here, her energy was really strong in that reading, just helping us to free ourselves from things that we spend a lifetime feeling guilty for, right? It was in about 2019 that we found my mom and my aunt's long lost sister. And so there was a lot of wholeness and healing coming from that. And they are the spitting image of each other, really and truly. So and not that has anything to do with it or any bearing on it, but it was just this moment of wholeness where you could feel ancestral healing taking place. So my grandmother Mary was entering into that last one, and I can feel her here in this one too. But I just wanted to tell you that, to say that your family is with you in spirit, my friend. So let us begin, shall we? This creative unconscious reading. So I would like to invite the angels, my guardian angels, my spirit guides, protectors, teachers, and their healing energy to this space. And I ask that it is a safe and brave space that allows for the fullest expression of our light, humanity, ascension, and healing. All right, so being that this is our creative unconscious reading, I'm going to take from the, let me do this here. This is the Tarot of Light and Shadow, and this is the shadow portion of the deck. So let us dive in here. Whoa. So we have the Six of Cups. Definite, the past for sure. All right. Seven of Cups. Judgment. I'm going to pull one more just because. And the Six of Wands. I think the story that I'm getting here is that there's a way that you are leveraging your past in the rise towards your future. And I'm getting that this, so we have the Six of Cups. And then we also have the Emperor. And in addition to the Emperor, we also have the Seven of Cups. And we also have Judgment, which to me is like a phoenix, right? Phoenix rising from the blue flames. So to me, that's like Archangel Michael invoking for sure. So I'll hold that up again now that I say blue flames. Definite. The blue flames have been coming up a lot lately for me in meditations and working through things, and it's been pretty wild because I've never worked with them before. But when I was doing a clearing before I went to sleep one night, I just had this image of a blue flame going through my entire auric field, like it was clearing. And usually people associate swords with Archangel Michael, but for me, ever since that moment, there is the blue flame and the sword, the flaming sword. But to me, this was more just like it was almost, I guess, similar to the violet flame meditations that I had done, that I had used from Soulful Revolution's channel. I talk about that channel a lot because it's been pretty instrumental in my growth. I mean, there's so many other readers on here that have as well, but the violet flame meditation is where I started to work with flames in meditation, and then the blue flame. But this is really, there's a definite blue flame healing here. And Christina Loeb's video recently talked about clearing karmic connections and how that can come into play. So it's almost like there's this, I'm getting that there's like a clearing of a lot of energy here. And I'm getting that you're looking at, we also have the Six of Wands on the end here, just as an FYI. I'm getting that there's this way that you're clearing energy, and that you're rising up, and this is a sense of success. I get, though, that this Emperor is where you may be compelled to take action hastily to avoid this feeling of the Seven of Cups, like this, maybe not to avoid the feeling, but I get from here that there's something that you don't want to see that needs to go, right? We have the Six of Cups, but then there's this broken cup, and that reminds me of like the Ace of Cup that's out of place. And this, I'm getting I'm getting timeline messages now through this, and that is mostly just because of the Six of Cups here. But there's like something that's out of place here, and you'll know it. There's just, and it's just a thought I'm getting. It's not a person or, anything really intense like that, but there's a way that it can make you act hastily, right? In this card, the Emperor has beheaded someone, which is not the most pleasant imagery, but what is very interesting to me is that there's also the invocation of two pillars in this art on the card, which is quite like the pillars in the High Priestess card. So I'm almost getting that this is like when you ignore your intuition and when you ignore that connection to spirit, there's a way that it can really wreak havoc on your energy, and it can send you into these like places of feeling like you have to take a Knight of Wands type action where you need to like rush into something, when what you need to do is to pace yourself and to look within the cups that you have. Look and see what's in them. Is it something that you want? Is it something that you wish for? Is it something that you desire? And if not, then how do we shift this, and how do we change this? How do we move away from this? But in the meantime, though, I do see that this Judgment card to me is the minor arcana reflection of this card is the Six of Cups. So ironically enough, it's here. The other reflection of it that I've experienced is the Nine of Cups. And this is, to me, this is about less so about you, making a decision or being indecisive, like in a decisive energy. I'm getting that this is more so you understanding what it is that you need to transform about this particular cup. It's not fallen and it's not spilled, it's broken. And I get the impression that it's broken. And there's a way that it's broken not because of what happened to it. It's almost like the brokenness comes from the fact that it's trying to be the cups around it, and that's what destroyed it, because it's not meant to be that. So it could be about messages about conformity, less about conformity, maybe more so about conforming or feeling like you need to. There's a little bit of Uranian energy in that. I'm going to pull from the Smith-Waite Tarot just to clarify these messages for you, my wonderful creative collective. And I get, too, from this that what you might have been ignoring is this Six of Cups, this call from the past. And that could just be a past healing. Again, my grandmother's been in these readings for the last one that I did that I had to get rid of. And then this one, I feel like she's showing up again, this sort of Judgment and Six of Cups. Like there's something that we're healing that was standing out. And I started with the story about hers because I could always feel like something was off, ancestrally speaking, and there was always something off, like it just energetically, like there was something missing. There was something fundamentally missing, and I knew this, but it was very hard to put my finger on. And my cousin felt it too, so she and I would sometimes talk about this, and and then when it happened, we talked a little bit, and it's like it felt like something had like an awareness had come home. So we can feel disruptions like this at times in family energy, if we're sensitive enough to it, right? So I think that what this is a call for recognition of is overcoming it means that we first have to see it. We first have to see not just the difference, but the things that we're asking the cup. So, the cup, the Ace of Cups is what I'm thinking of here. So the way that we love others, offers of love, creativity, connection to self and others, this very subtle power, because that's what, love is. Like love is that, they talk about when the the unstoppable force meets the immovable object. Well, I feel like the Ace of Cups is the unstoppable force. That's love, right? It can do anything if I want to say applied well, or applied meaningfully, and applied honestly, and engaged in that energy. And I'm really getting that the way to overcome this is to see that cup, to see how we might be expecting love or expecting loved ones or the love within us to be something different and do something different than what it can do. And I think that's where we get this sudden rush of freedom, this judgment that we've called on the situation. And if not called on the situation, then at the very least, it's something that is transforming us from the depths. Judgment is Pluto energy. I think of it as like Pluto, the beta version. Like it's not, think of this as like, Windows 7. Like it's still a powerhouse on its own, but it's not as powerful as like Windows XP was. And for those who are watching this, that's probably dating myself a little bit, which is wild because it's Windows XP. It's not that far ago. Like it's not that long ago, but it's that idea of like, it's a transformation, but it's not one that is like as shocking or sudden as a tower might be. So oh, spirit. So I'm getting that this is really where you're accessing this transformation and you're letting go. I feel like this is you on the other side of this. The tower, I feel like that was just spirit being like, uh-huh. I do think though that this might, the changes that you're experiencing might feel shocking to you. Like I referenced the story of my grandmother and finding her kind of long lost daughter, whose name was Mary. And, that was a shock to all of us. But what it ended up for us was this kind of 9 of Cups feeling. So it's almost like seeing what this Ace of Cups is that you're trying to get this to do, what you're trying to get this to do. You're trying to get this to do too many things is what I'm getting here. So, that came out in between. So I have the Devil, the 10 of Wands, and the Sun. It's like you're trying to get this Ace of Cups here to do too many things. And it's seeing that it has a distinct purpose. So this love, it could be a love for a project that you're working on, a love for a job, a love for a person. It's like you're trying to get it to do too many things. And even people that we love and are in romantic relationships with, they're not going to be everything. We're still going to need relationships that, like, our partners will never be able to fulfill all of that one need, right? That's one of the wonderful things that I so admire about polyamorous folks is that they're unapologetic about this and saying and understanding and having so much compassion for themselves and others and saying, you can't be everything to me. No one should, right? And I've talked a lot on this channel about conscious monogamy and things like that. And it occurred to me tonight that, when I talk about relationships, there's a part of me that's been holding back when it talks about third parties and things like that. Because when we talk about third parties, what we're actually doing in a way, at least this is how it felt tonight when I had this kind of epiphany, was like, we're really making it inaccessible. We're making tarot inaccessible to polyamorous folks because they're not really in a third party if they're consenting to it, right? So there's a way to talk about the complexity and the layers in relationships. And this space is I want it to be a safe and brave space. In the invocation, that's what I call in, is that energy. But I also feel like in order to do that, it has to be open to all of these energies and all of these possibilities. It's a sex positive space. It's a whole bunch of things rolled in one, right? So these are all ways that, this space, I intend for it to feel for folks and to come across for others. And, but I think too, it's understanding that one channel cannot be all and everything, right? And that's the same thing for your relationships. And I feel like this is really this cup. You're trying to make this cup be everything. And it's not, and maybe that's where this Emperor energy is coming in. Maybe that's where this Emperor energy is coming in. We have the Strength card. And then the Four of Pentacles. Yeah, it's like it's brute force, but not from a place of it's almost like the Strength card came out in reverse, which is kind of like brute force, a little bit of arrogance. And arrogance is not, it's not always coming from a place, well, no, it doesn't really, to me, the way I'm seeing it right now is that it's not coming from a place of you knowing the answers or having genuine access to them. It's more so that you're resisting being wrong because of how it will make you look. Leo is 5th house and like that kind of thing, which is a real shadow energy to be in. So my creative collective, this is also about being stuck. This is about being stuck in the idea that you have to control it all or be it. Like when we try to get one thing to be it all to us, and this cup here, if we try to get one thing or person or situation or context to be everything, what we end up running into is where we start to control things like this Emperor instead of letting them flow. And that's really what a call for this is. This is sort of like this integration of flow and authenticity and powerful expression and knowing what you want without any hesitation going for it. if anything was possible, what would you do? That's the question that the King of Wands asks. And then the Queen of Wands or Queen of Cups might ask a question of, if, it's just, I'm hearing let the compassion flow. I had a question and then it disappeared and was replaced by this idea of compassion overflowing from a cup. So it's like this integration of these two energies. So I get the impression, my creative collective, for this reading, that you're moving through these energies. But it's important that you remember that one cup cannot do everything, and that we place really unfair expectations on the cup itself, and also on ourselves in the process, because we expect things that really aren't possible from us or our energy. And as a result, we end up leaning towards things that aren't meant to happen. Yeah, this is you moving away from that. I'm clarifying the Six of Cups here in terms of this past. And it's like you moving away from this way of doing things. It came out a little bit weird the way I clarified it, but I just followed the energy as opposed to doing it in a specific order. So just bear with me on that one. Healing worry, healing things that have kept you up at night regarding this, specific to, all of the different thoughts that we have about it. And thoughts really do create expectations in our minds about specific situations or people, and that can really be a source of disconnect for us, profound disconnect. Heartbreak, it's like breaking your own heart. I think it might feel really difficult. The good news about the Three of Swords, the silver lining of it, is that it's a temporary heartbreak, right? It's not a major arcana. This is something that's temporary. I'm almost getting that it was just hard. It's difficult to move away from this. There could be a sense of nostalgia or a little bit of like grieving the familiar that you're having to deal with here in terms of moving past this this Ace of Cups trying to be something it isn't. And I mean, as a trans person, like, I can relate, right? Like, I've spent so much time in that energy. So if you are watching this and you are somewhere on the gender creative or gender diverse spectrum, I see you. I love you. This is your place too. Ten of Pentacles. This is what you're moving towards. I'm getting a strong impression that what this is doing, this moving away from this heartbreak and this disappointment, I'm getting more so. It's just like, oh, well, shit. Like, you really wanted it to work out and it didn't. And I think that this Ten of Pentacles energy is the legacy energy. This is also, to me, this sort of, it's this legacy and this generational ancestral legacy, being part of something that's bigger than you, you stepping into wholeness. So again, my grandmother's really in this message. I am very grateful for her energy right now. But this is really you stepping into that wholeness. This is like long-term sustained and sustainable bliss. Like, so I think that this is really, you're moving into this energy, and what it's doing is bringing these things up into your awareness. So I'm almost getting like the vibe of like a cycle test, like the end of a cycle comes, and less than being tested, like it's, how well are you going to perform this? And if you don't, you fail. It's not like that. It's just when your paradigm shifts and your perspective shifts, a whole bunch of different things become apparent to you, and the new norm meets with the old norm. And it's that kind of little period that you're in, I think. You're more in the new norm than you are in the old, from what I'm seeing here. But there's ways that it will, you'll be more aware than you have been before that you're in. My cat is crying in the background, and she's yelling at the wall. No idea. But she's cheering you on, though. She's cheering you on. So I get that this is really making it more accessible to you, the understanding that this is the energy that you are in right now. Because I don't think it's been that obvious. You may feel like you've been more in this kind of fire energy, right? This Emperor showing up in more of a shadow. And what I'm understanding is that this is like inner conflict that's kind of being manifested on the outside. And what's ending up happening here is you're becoming more aware of how this energy is more the energy that you're in, right? You're cutting the ties. This is the blue flame. It's healing. It's calling energy back to you. It's clearing as well. And I think that this is you rising. This is a phoenix rising. And for judgment, if we're going to call judgment on the situation, as it were, I feel like this is a really beautiful place to be in, because following the judgment card is the Six of Wands, which is sort of the, one of the victory cards, one of the overcoming and triumph cards in the tarot. So there's the Tower. I cannot make this up. Remember how I pulled this out before? And this is the Pluto energy. Well, this is more Mars and Pluto energy. So I'm getting that this is the transformation that you're going through. And I don't know that it's one that's like, this is going to descend upon you and then it's just going to be there. I'm getting that this is more so this cat, honestly. Can I help you? This tower energy is really more so, I almost get that this is like, it's more sudden. It's like a sudden awareness that you have as opposed to something coming crashing in or anything like that. I almost get that this is like, you're going to be aware of it, and then death was on the bottom. Yeah. So it's like, you're going to be made aware of it, and then things are going to move really quickly. Knight of Wands, Eight of Wands, from there. Like you're focused, what's happening. And, the death card is also the card of awareness. It's also fertile ground. So you are not just planting seeds, but you are understanding that you are a seed bearer now, right? Like we plant seeds and we leave them. That's the Seven of Pentacles energy. We put a lot of effort in, we put a lot of time in. And when you hit this point with the Ten of Pentacles and you have that is energy that is accessible to you, you can also start to plant these seeds elsewhere too. And you'll find that legacy energy joins you if it is indeed coming from that legacy place, and that's intentional. And you now this awareness, right? I look at the death card as transformation energy, but more than that, I look at it as an awareness of timelines. This is sort of like pulling back, right? Like it's, think of it in a movie, for example, where, someone passes away and they pass away, but then they're coming back, but it's just this vision that they have, this big picture vision that they have of everything around them. That's almost like what this is. This is like big out of body experience energy. And I don't know why it's coming through like that tonight. But it is. And so I feel like this awareness is really, to say that it's transformative would be kind of an understatement, I think. But more than transformative, I think what this energy is telling you is that it's actually safe for you to lean in to the fertile ground that you're standing upon, and to also honor yourself by planting the seeds that you want to see grow for the long haul, as opposed to the really short-term relief that you may have planted them before and called it happiness under those auspices, right? So Spirit, can you clarify this Six of Wands? This channeling is intense tonight. There's very loud energy. My grandma, I just heard the word, I felt her energy, and I heard the words, I'm rooting for you. Yeah, the Hermit. This is wisdom, right? This is almost like you're gaining wisdom. I'm thinking about scouts and beavers and brownies and all of that, and it's very colonial structures, but at the same time they have the badges that they get for different activities, and it's almost like this is a badge that you're adding to your experience, but not in a way that is just for decoration. It's one that you're adding internally, like you're adding, the badge is going to be covering up what swords left behind, right? So that it's that kind of idea. And it's not a Band-Aid or a quick fix. It's something that's for the long term. And, the Hermit energy in this context also reminds me that Ten of Pentacles energy is kind of connected to the Hermit energy, because they're both long term, and they're a card of maturity and different kinds of wisdom, right? This is more higher self wisdom. This is wisdom from spirit. This is paving the path for others. And that could be what you're starting to do from this awareness that you have, my creative unconscious, my creative collective. Yeah. Two of Swords. I don't know that you see it yet. I'm just getting that you're not seeing it yet. Not because you don't want to. I think it's just that there's something, I almost get this Two of Swords in this context as meditative, right? This meditative state that we're in. We're trying to figure out what it is that we really want to do. This is a card of indecision, but this is also, it reminds me of, I read in a book, it was some doctor writing a book, and he talked about how, before an emergency, he'll get into an elevator and people would comment that he seemed so calm when he would get into the elevator to go into the emergency room to deal with whatever it was that was coming in that night, specifically when they had codes that you would hear. And he would say, the moment that I'm in this elevator is the last moment that I have to myself before everything else changes on the other side of those elevator doors. And I almost get the feeling that this is you in that place of, peace and not calm before the storm, because, the doctor chose that, right? He chose that to do as a profession. And he certainly wasn't maligning it. He just talked about this specific dynamic and how he would manage his stress. And the stress of his job. And I'm thinking about it in this context because I feel like there's a change that you're going through. And before you can really fully step into it, I feel like you're just savoring the pause before the elevator doors open. And that's when this blindfold starts to come off, right? So, wow. And I also think I'm getting to like this training, not for battle, but training for strength. I'm getting Wonder Woman vibes off of this. And how they would have specific exercises that they would do before they would have those games, right? I'm thinking about Wonder Woman and I think the first movie, where they're training and they're doing all of these things, and it gets to a point where they are ready and they don't have to really do a whole lot of preparation for the race itself, because the preparation happened in moments like this where they were, testing their strength. And I almost get like that's what this is for you, and not a test of strength necessarily. But King of Pentacles, yeah, I'm hearing this is the hard stuff, but the important stuff. The world. I think that's what you need to know, is that there is something that is coming to a conclusion here. Could be fixed mindsets with this Two of Swords. But ultimately what I'm understanding from this is that there's something that took a fair bit of discipline to get through. And do I think that it might have had to do with a romantic relationship? Yes, it could have very well, because of all of the cards here. The reason why I'm not connecting it to that immediately was because of the grandmother energy that showed up for me. I think this is something that goes beyond and through. Like, there's romantic relationships can come up when it comes to these big lessons. And I was feeling the big lesson before I even started this, because it was in the last one that I did too. But I'm getting this like big life lesson energy with the World card here. That's a Saturn. That's Saturnian energy. And what I'm getting from this is something to note. The World card in the minor arcana reflection of it is in the Six of Cups, Ten of Pentacles, also the Nine of Cups, the Six of Wands, and the Six of Cups, all of which we have here. The Nine of Cups, it isn't here, but it came out on the split, right? So almost all of them are here. So this is like this is the summary that we're seeing. This is the Coles notes. And so if you're looking in terms of signs, we have here Capricorn, Leo, we have Scorpio, Aries, Virgo, and we have Saturn and Pluto and Mars in terms of planets, which can be eighth house. Like these are... the way that I'm getting this is that it's not connected to a specific relationship or job necessarily. It's one of those things that you're working through that affects all of the others, right? How do I word this here? It's almost like the thread that weaves through everything. I've heard it said before in, entrepreneurship and business books that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Usually, like if you do one thing half-heartedly, it will be very easy for you to take that same pattern of behavior and apply it to other areas of your life. And I feel like that's what this is like too. This is sort of that energy of the way that you've been engaging in your life is shifting. And as a result, the other things in your life are going to be shifting too. So I think it's just about letting things, this could have to do with the eclipse, right? The solar eclipse tends to be about more new, but I think ultimately change, right? This is new. I think this is new based on the death, judgment, Pluto, and, Tower, Pluto, and death. But there's also this beautiful aspect, though, of the Hermit card here, and we have the Sun, right? This is sort of like trying to get one thing to be everything to you. And I think that what this is showing you is that there's a way that this Sun card has been in balance before. There's a way that this Devil card, this is like sensory experiences, right? This can be sensory experiences. This can also be stories that you tell yourself that separate yourself from your access to the Sun. So these are a lot of things that are not necessarily completely outside of your control, but it can be stuff that's handed down to us, right? Epigenetics is the term used, a book that I've recommended on this channel before that I will recommend again because I love it. I read it in 2017, around the time it came out, I think. It's called It Didn't Start With You by Mark Wolynn, Wolynn, and it is phenomenal. It's such a good read because it sort of teaches us to be the parents that we needed that we may not have had. And what better, and that's just, I just felt my grandmother's energy again as I said that. And, because her having, I don't get the impression that she wanted to give up my Aunt Mary. And, based on the fact that she spent a good chunk of her life, anytime they would go out to BC, to visit family and things, she would spend a day frantically looking through phone books and trying to find, I guess, her baby girl. So, I don't get that it was a separation that was one that was welcome on her part. And I don't think she felt there wasn't like a guilt as in, she wanted to undo something. I got the feeling many times since it happened and in dreams and things that it was more so that it was not something she wanted. But there's this way that we can take things on ancestrally. And until we heal it, until we heal that, we can continue to live in this this space where towers don't fall. We don't let transformation take place because there's always a question hanging over our head of, do I deserve this? Do I deserve this, right? We bury ourselves in a million different things. And do I deserve this is always the question that's hanging over our head, right? This is the upside down pentacle, which tends to represent this sort of, the way it's been explained before, that really resonated, that's coming up right now, is like this root chakra energy, this root energy that is where the crown chakra should be. So this is where we're experiencing sensory things through that primary energy source, instead of the crown chakra that connects us to the sun, to higher wisdom, that kind of idea. So it's sort of, things get flipped and turned around and spun all over, and it really does disconnect us. But I feel like this is you reconnecting to your truth, not just to I think this is you connecting to your guides as well, right? Through this sort of unconscious, this unconscious transformation. I don't know that you're completely aware of all of these things happening, but sometimes you feel the shifts, right? Sometimes you feel the shifts. And I was talking to someone this week about, symptoms of things like, that it's been called like ascension flu, where like you're integrating these things subconsciously, you're integrating and transmuting these lessons subconsciously. And then all of a sudden something will happen that triggers you. And then it becomes very conscious. It becomes so conscious that you can't unsee it. And you have to process emotions that you didn't realize were kind of lurking under the surface. And that's possibly what this one cup is this, you found it and now you're going to bring it home. You found it and now you're going to bring it home. And now you can properly love the cup for what it is and whom it is and all of those different things. And it doesn't have to be one of these cups, right? It doesn't have to be a tumbler. It can be a beautiful chalice that it's meant to be. So that's really lovely energy. Thank you so much, Grandma. That's just fucking beautiful. Yeah, 3 of Wands. Positive expectation, my friends. I think you have to understand that when these kinds of energies come in, they are clearing energies. But remember, the blue flame is here to tell you that angels are with you. The blue flame is here to tell you that this is something that you're working through. Yeah, 6 of Wands. That's, I was trying to clarify, and I feel like Spirit just said, you have to really expect the positive. You have to really expect the best. 3-3-3-3 was just on the time. You have to look to the highest octave possible, because I feel like that's how this portal kind of opens up for you. I feel like that's how this Saturnian lesson concludes for you, or at least gives you access to some energy that's a little bit easier, right? So I'm going to pull from the chakra deck here, because I feel like it's really calling to me. Spirit, can I get some messages for my creative unconscious collective, my creative collective here? We are all children of conditioning. This children card. I feel like there's a lot of energy here of you coming back home or things coming back home to you. So I think it's important that you know that. We are all children of conditioning. Let go of the oughts, shoulds, and judgments that inhibit you. Speak wisely, speak gently, speak consciously, but find your truth and express yourself. What you have to say is important. You are an expression of the divine. And then let me pull another one here. Maybe this is also what just came to mind is that this children of conditioning idea, right? We are children of condition, but then we're also we're also finding our soul family in this huge, on this huge planet. And I think it's about remembering that even if you feel like you're missing a home or you're lacking that kind of feeling of coming home, or you're longing for that. I just think of that with the Six of Cups and then the Six of Swords, right? This moving towards or away from, mostly towards, so this sense of family. And then my grandmother, her energy coming in, just reminding you that there's this sense of home that you're coming back to. And truth, so like Ace of Swords, as if that went flying out. That's what I get off this energy. Truth. It is safe for me to align with and express my higher truth, wisdom, and knowing. I allow others to hold a different perspective to me and know that there is enough space in the universe for all of our truths, including my own. I am honest with myself and hear the resonance of truth in my words. I express my truth. And then letting go. I release repressed or trapped emotions and their associated beliefs with ease and grace. Where appropriate, I let go of those people and situations that perpetuate hurt and unease. I release my investment in staying safe and stuck. I surrender, trust, and allow the light to guide me. I release. That's where it's like letting go of making this one thing be everything or something that it's not. Autonomy. I move beyond the limits that my ancestors, society, and I have unconsciously placed upon me. I am free. Sorry, but this ancestral energy is really loud. Not in a way that's like inconvenient. I'm actually quite comforted by my grandmother's energy coming into this. So she's wrapping all of us up. 3636 was just on the time. So I move beyond the limits that my ancestors, society, and I have unconsciously placed upon me. I am free. Say that to yourselves. Just I am free. I'm free. I recognize myself as an autonomous being of infinite possibility and potential. I am free to shine my light and strengthen my ego as I discover my potential. I am a limitless being. Okay, and then we're going to pull from a new deck. This is the Life Loves You deck. I haven't used it on this channel yet, but it is the Life Loves You deck by Louise Hay and Robert Holden. Only love is real. Oh, I love this. This is a Course in Miracles quote. Only love is real. Whenever you're afraid, remember this. Only love is real. Let love bless you, guide you, and inspire you. So beautiful. I love that energy. And then we're going to pull from the Miracles Now deck because of course we are. I let my intimate relationships be my greatest learning devices for spiritual growth and healing. So this, like I said, I'm getting some romantic relationship vibes, but it's more overarching than that. Like it feels like something that touched relationships, that touched connections, that touched behaviors. There's just a lot of ways. But remember this. I let my intimate relationships be my greatest learning devices for spiritual growth and healing. So there's something to be taken from this situation that you're going through. In terms of wisdom, right? The Hermit card is here definitely to remind us of that. Obsessing over the outcome of a relationship gets in the way. Instead, I let go and allow. Yes, 100%. This is detachment, right? This is detachment at its finest. If you're looking for a great book on detachment, Karen Casey has a book on detachment that it's mostly filled with stories in the latter chapters, but the first couple really helped to refresh detachment for me. So maybe it'll offer the same to you, but this is really, I'm getting those big detachment vibes, right? Obsessing over the outcome of a relationship gets in the way. Instead, I let go and allow. And also the world is here, right? Remember, the world is here, which tells me that there's some divine timing at work. Plutonic energy. So the Judgment card and the Tower, divine timing is at work here. So just breathe. These two cards are cards to me that say breathe, right? You're in the elevator. Savor the elevator before the doors open and you face a new day. Savor that. Just pause, take a breather, and then go ahead, right? But give yourself that moment to really just breathe and take in the energy of where you are. So, my darling creative collective, I hope that this was helpful. If this resonated, please like and subscribe. It helps me to grow the channel and to keep doing this, which I am really, I'm still ridiculously humbled to be able to do this. And I appreciate every single one of you who watches and likes and engages and leaves comments. I respond to all of them. So please continue to engage and if you like, feel free to leave comments on this and other videos. I really appreciate it. So if you want to connect in other ways, there's tons of other content on the channel to do so with. So do check out the videos tab and have at it, my friends. But if this is where we part, I hope you have a wonderful Saturday ahead. Stay tuned because later we do have another video coming about A Course in Miracles and 5 themes. 6 themes. There's a bonus. Of course there is. Of course there's a bonus. So 6 themes of A Course in Miracles. So stay tuned for that. But if this is where we part, my darlings, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or night, wherever this finds you on the time-space continuum. I hope it finds you surrounded by love and all of the light and healing that your heart can contain. All right. Take care. Bye.